Like the apostles who are invited by Jesus to share a meal with him on the night before his death, whenever we respond to Jesus' invitation to do this in remembrance of me, he promises to be with us and to feed us with his body and blood. He does this to bring us into communion with him and with our fellow Christians, strengthening us with his presence as we seek to live as his disciples. For as often as you eat this bread and drink the cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes. For Christians, Jesus' death on the cross is a sacrifice motivated by love. As Jesus says in John's Gospel, no one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. But how do we know it is a sacrifice? Well, Jesus' actions, taking and breaking the bread and pouring out the wine, are like an acted parable. Although the disciples would not have understood it at the time, Jesus is giving them a way of interpreting his death correctly. Like the bread broken, Jesus' body is broken on the cross. Like the wine poured out, Jesus' blood is shed for us. There can be no repetition of Jesus' sacrifice. But whenever we celebrate the Eucharist, we are in communion with the risen Christ, whose sacrifice has brought us peace with God. This is why the table around which we gather is also called an altar, a place where the sacrifice of Christ is recalled and its benefits made present. To participate in the Eucharist is to recognise our brokenness as individuals and as communities, and our need to be united with Christ in order to be made whole. As we have explored in other sessions in Pilgrim, Christians believe that Jesus was broken to save us from our sins and brokenness. We now offer the bread and cup to God as a sacrifice of praise and thanksgiving. Made whole through our communion with Christ's sacrificial death, we offer our lives to God as a living sacrifice. The words that we often pray together after communion express this. We offer you our souls and bodies to be a living sacrifice. This is true of all worship. Even the simplest song of a few Christians gathered together in a school hall, or the grandest service you can possibly imagine, is an offering of praise, the sacrifice of our hearts, and the alignment of our lives to God. As we gather around Christ's table, the one whom we remember offers us a piece of his broken body to make us whole, and sends us out as members of his body to share his life in the brokenness of the world.